somebody already in here waiting? Can you guys hear me okay? I'm still kind of like pulling it together and getting adjusted and hey, Maya and Tracy, yay. Good, thank you. So you notice you're both mods. You're two people I trust, so. Okay, Tom's wrapping up. I figured he would be. And Ethany's next, right? Okay. Thank you, Maya. Tom is still on. I figured. Hi, Rochelle. Thank you, Integrative Healing with Sadhana. I'm hi, Catherine. I'm just on here early because of wanting to make sure that everything's okay. and nerves. Yeah. So now I'm sitting in awkward silence. Because I don't know how to do anything besides just start. Rochelle, yes, I did end up getting a new extender. Oh, Tracy, wow. Yeah, I got a new extender, I guess, last night and managed to test it out. And in truth, I've had one of those days today. I was so hoping I would have time to just enjoy the Tarot-thon and play with everybody and finish getting my documents ready and uploaded. Oh, hey, Science to Soul, Jen. Great. Hi, Cleo76. Hello. Hey, Y. Hey, Aquamarine. Oh my God, everybody's showing up. Hi. Oh my gosh, look at all the people. You're hopping over now. So did Tom finished? Hi, Jules. Hi, Christy. Thank you, Donna. That's very sweet. He did finish. Okay. Great. Thank you, Jen. This is so exciting. I'm enjoying chatting with everybody before we start. Oh, great. Thank you, Y. Yes, intensive integrative healing with sadhana. Yes, it is intense, and I'm so glad. Hi, Lori. Hi, Jenny. Hi, Lori Tarot. I meant Lori Whale Song Lori. The first one. Hi, Moonlit. Hi, Kendra's Spiritual Journey. Hi, Natalia. Cleo, you're Sarah from Australia. Good to know. Hi, Nina and Nana. So, hi, Bunny Kisses. Thank you, Leanda. Thank you. Yeah, big kiss. Nina, yay! Shuffle Tarot, Nina. So, you've created a playlist of the whole event, and you just added mine too. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you, Y. Wow, yeah, lots of Aussies here today. Maya, your Mariel has been sitting out all day. Wow. Yes, integrative healing with sadhana. Do your best to relax. I wish that I had had more space to relax before getting started. I'm going to have to watch all the playbacks too, Rochelle. Wow, lots of Aussies on here. So many playbacks. Oh my goodness. So Jules, you're in Sydney. I didn't realize that. I knew you were in, obviously knew you were in Oz. We love in Down Under, Nat. Yes. Oh, I see what you were saying, Tracy. Okay. Wow. Wee hours of the night, giggle. Yes, I will probably be doing that too. And Janet, you're in Perth. Wow, at least 3 of you are in Perth. Wow. Canadians, I love that. Good question. I'm in St. Louis, Missouri in the States, so I'm literally right in the middle. Hi, Lulu. Bonsoir from Quebec. Yeah. Oh, Bunny Kisses, you're in BC. Wow. Oh, around, I'm sure there must be other tarot lovers in Brisbane. All right, my loves, it is now 7 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Please, hi, Kendra and Catherine. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and try not to be so distracted by the chat. And I will have to because I'm going to need my notes a little bit here. So please feel free to go ahead and chat. And if you have questions at some point, put them in all bold. But let's say maybe hold off on those for a little while until I get up and running here. You'll see why. So basically, let me bring back to this screen. So basically, when I was asked about coming on to talk about a particular topic, I decided I really wanted to work with the Mariel, and I think I just was going to talk about the Mariel, and then after talking with Uwasima, it became clear that we needed to find a way to target it towards 2020. And the minute that we made a shift, everything in my entire plan took a shift as well. And I feel like a lot of this came to me sort of dictated or channeled, which is weird to say in public in any way, because I spent too many years in academia. But that was kind of how it came across. It was very quick and very fast, and I was in a very specific type of place. And I knew that I was finding a way to work very intentionally and very specifically with the Mariel in order to bring a spread for manifesting intention in 2020. So yeah, it's kind of a very weird experience, but a very, a wonderful one. So while I feel like, this is material I'm offering, I'm also don't exactly feel comfortable laying claim to it. I didn't publish the deck, and I feel like this information is either coming from deep within my subconscious mind and is just capable of being spewed out, or the information has come from elsewhere. So yeah, I thought I would kind of just share that to begin with. So let me see, I got to go back to my notes because now I'm nervous. Right. So in terms of moving forward in 2020, what we've got here, and I don't have the documents up just yet, but they will be in a Dropbox file, and I will put that back here. But we've got a spread that's going to be working with the Merkava and with the Tetragrammaton. And I kept hearing Tetragrammaton in my mind, while at the same time, I was seeing the I was seeing the magician card, and I was very specifically seeing this shape. And I mistakenly in my head thought that this was a tetragrammaton. And so I looked it up to be sure and realized I was actually dealing with two different things. So as I was pulling this together, I realized that the tetragrammaton part of the spread is the way to manifest through a visionary mystical understanding of ourselves and of the abyss and of that relationship. And then so that's the Merkava. Did I say that right? So let me just go back. Brain is just farting out. The Merkava is the way to manifest through visionary and mystical understanding. And the tetragrammaton, which is the Jewish Hebrew letters in the middle, and I'll explain that in greater depth in a few minutes or a little while, is the way that we're getting in touch with the wisdom of the abyss. Okay, so that's where we're operating from. Let's see. Where do I want to go next? I probably should be able to see the chat, see if anything's popping up here. It looks like everybody's saying hello. And there was some buffering. Okay, I hope it's all right. So if there's anything that I realize later has not been covered here, I will come back and do another video, obviously, and keep updating this because I feel like there's a lot of information. I probably will not get through all of it today. In fact, I know that I won't. I will do my best to get through as much of it as I can. So let's see, I wrote some notes earlier. So really what we're looking at is finding the way to tap more deeply into the abyss, okay? Because when we begin to tap into the abyss and converse with it, it begins to speak back to us. And its language is symbolic, and one symbol can contain 1,000 words or just simply transcend the world of conscious thought, right? Planting these amazing unfolding seeds of knowledge and wisdom and insight. And I feel like it's very important that we all learn how to read and understand our own mystical vision for ourselves. And I also feel that the Mariel is an excellent tool for that. Marie White makes the point that the Mariel Tarot is built, and this is a quote, by the way, the Mariel Tarot is built on the 3 pillars of the Marseille, Rider-Waite, and Thoth decks in deep respect of their wisdom and tradition, as well as this evolving iconography that reflect an inner truth that we humans carry inside us. So it's my perspective, and it seems to also be one that Marie White shares, that creators like Pamela Coleman Smith and Arthur Waite and Aleister Crowley and, countless others who have worked on that were part and parcel of the creation of all of the different publications of the Marseille Tarot decks as well. Have become relied upon as sources for the deeper meaning behind the 78 because of their ability to trust their own mystical vision and connect to the abyss enough that they're able to bring its truth into realization. So we therefore rely upon their particular interpretations of the 78 for many reasons. But the reason most overlooked is that we have not yet become able to rely on our own. So that's a lot. That's a lot that I just threw at you. We still need the depth of their experience, and we need the symbolic keys in the form of a tarot deck in order to aid us in our ability to tap deeply into the abyss for ourselves. So we need that truth, right? And I think, too, as a culture, we also have a tendency to believe that the legacy, and in this case, obviously, I'm talking about the writing and work of those who are deceased, is somehow more valuable than our own, which is ironic, considering that when you think about it, society really often rejects these same individuals during their own lifetimes, because truths such as these, along with their concurrent lifestyle, are something that frequently challenges the status quo. And yet, I cannot help but to believe that these individuals intended to share their knowledge and wisdom in order that others would be able to cultivate their own in a very similar fashion, right? I therefore feel that authenticity in this journey is of tremendous value. So while it's deeply important to acknowledge and honor the work of those that came before us, knowing that it is upon their shoulders that we stand, it's equally important that we also question everything as we learn it, rather than to swallow it unexamined. And for me as a Buddhist, that's of critical importance, because that was in many ways the reason that I became a Buddhist in the first place, because it says repeatedly throughout multiple sutras in various canons in Buddhist, in the Buddhist religion and various parts of Buddhist religion, that you really need to examine everything. Don't take it at face value. And that's not something that we do just once. It's a practice to be engaged with regularly, along with the vow to allow ourselves and our truth to change and grow. And in this way, we can move closer and closer to wholeness. And further from that, I feel like even when really great masters claim that their work is solely theirs, simply because they were in a position to bring it into fruition, my practice tells me that this is ultimately a function of the ego, and therefore a very, very human misunderstanding of that process. My own work with the tarot and its various forms has taught me that it's capable of existing in virtually any form. And Marie White makes this point in her book. If you'd like to know where, because I love a good source, she talks about it. She talks about it in the introduction about the structure. Oh, it's Perfect Ambiguity. So for those of you who are working with version 1, or the first edition, it's page 13. Second edition, I believe, is also, yes, page 13 in both books. So she talks about that structure and about its ability to take on almost any form and somehow remain intact. And I think while there are similar, certain common truths that clearly permeate every version of the tarot, I think any adherence we have to a particular set of beliefs, ideas, or standards is most often a function of our own taste and a need for simplicity, rather than an infallible or unalterable truth. Truth is changing, and truth is something that's different depending on whose truth it is and how that truth comes through. And there's a lot more I could say about that. I think I won't try to go into that right now, but I do feel like that's another topic for another time. So that said, the level of depth in a particular deck is a testament to the willingness of its creator to tap deeply into that abyss for themselves in order to bring back treasures that resonate beyond the commonly accepted experience of that truth and transcends it. So the Rider-Waite, the Thoth, the Tarot de Marseille feel universal in nature because they transcend the experience of their individual creators. And yet each of them taps into the abyss in some form that is transpersonal in nature. So the part of us, therefore, that's most deeply in touch with the abyss feels that resonance with truth, and therefore we willingly give credit and credibility to the creators of a deck rather than to our own experience of that truth. And I know that's a lot to take in. This is going to be dense. It's going to be dense. Okay. So as we talk about, like, what is that truth? What is this mystical what is this mystical stuff? What is this mystical doodah? I think we can't talk about, we need to talk about, when we're looking at this, we need to talk about Ezekiel's vision and how that impacts the structure of the Mariel Tarot. Okay. So as we look at the way that Marie White has structured the deck, and therefore, the way that she has ultimately structured our Fool's Journey, the densest of the seeds lie within the first septenary, so the first 7 cards of the major arcana, starting with the Magician and then ending with the Chariot, and making remarkable use of the mystical visions of Ezekiel to illustrate the Fool's Journey into the abyss. So I'm going to unpack this, and I'm going to just move my notes and check in with the chat for a second. We doing okay, everybody? A little dense, right? I'm seeing it. Am I losing you guys? I hope we're not losing you guys. I mean, obviously people have to check out and go do things like eat dinner. I just saw that pop up. Nope, not losing you. Good. This is good. We love it. Okay. All right. Yeah. I was never a lecturer when I was a teacher. So it's really weird for me to lecture and talk without doing this, right? Yes, Ezekiel's vision influenced all the Golden Dawn tarots. Thank you, Jules. That's absolutely. They don't seem to, they don't rely on it, I feel like, as heavily as Marie White has. So let's go back to this. Let's see. Okay. Yes. Notes are fun. So in order to understand how Marie White is working with Ezekiel's vision in order to shape her deck, we need to have an understanding of what the Merkava is and what the Tetragrammaton is, both of which play a key role in the structure and which form the spreads that we're going to work with, right? So just to clarify, this shape is a 2-dimensional version of a 3-dimensional figure, which I know is kind of a little bit of a brain fuck, but it's the best we can do. So it's essentially this cube that's in his hand. Of course, cube implies volume, which also means that we're dealing with something that's 3-dimensional, right? So yeah. And then these letters in the middle here that are in Hebrew, that part is the Tetragrammaton. Tetra meaning 4, right? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So Merkava mysticism or Chariot mysticism is early Jewish mysticism focused on Ezekiel's visions and ascent to heavenly places. And we actually have an expert on this in the house. Jules is here. Jules is Cosmic Spirit in Books, and she is extremely well schooled in all of these topics. So as we're going along, if you want further clarification, Jules, I hate to put you on the spot. I hope it's okay. But she does know a lot. She's really done the homework. Way more of the homework than I have. So just to put that out there. And we're lucky to have her with us. So if there is something that you want to know, do feel able to ask her. Because she's here. I hope that's okay, Jules. Is that cool? I feel bad. I just put a student on the spot. I put a colleague. I put a viewer on the spot. Yeah. It can be intimidating. Yeah. The deck can be intimidating. Yes. Jules is a Cosmic Spirits and Spirit in Books. That's right. Thank you so much, Jules. I'm so glad you're here. Because yeah, she's done the work. She's done all of the work. So let's see. And I'm essentially paying lip service to it. I know it as much as I know it, and I'm aware of a lot of gaps in my knowledge. So let's see, where are we? Yes, we're talking about Merkava mysticism and Chariot mysticism. Its early Jewish mysticism focused on Ezekiel's visions and ascent to heavenly places. So the word Merkava means one thing in Hebrew and another thing in English. All right. So in Hebrew, Merkava is just a noun meaning a thing to ride in or a cart, and it has a general meaning to ride. But most references in the Bible to the word chariot are actually more earthly in nature. Okay. Let's see. And, although the concept of the Merkaba is closely associated with Ezekiel's vision, the word itself is actually not explicitly written in Ezekiel at all. Let's see. In English, we associate the word Merkaba specifically with Ezekiel's vision. And that said, if we look at what the vision consists of, right, it was a four-wheeled vehicle driven by four heyo. It's heyo or hayat, which were living creatures, each of which has four wings and the four faces of a man, right? So we have the man, the lion, ox, and eagle or vulture, right? So then the Merkaba is also represented by a three-dimensional block or cube, most commonly associated with Enoch or Metatron. And it's this that we see the magician holding in the Mariel. And this is how the Mariel uses the magician to split. This is where it gets just a little bit fun here. To split the suits into four core elements, okay, which are usually shown visibly and visually in the magician card, but here they're implied because of the use of the Merkaba, okay. Simultaneously, the use of the Merkaba to represent the four elements or four suits represents their integration within the magician, who Marie White says is, quote, everything. It contains everything and everything flows from it. So the imagery of the four elements embodied is depicted very explicitly in the four aces, right? So we have, the Ace of Wands, the Ace of Cups, the Ace of Swords, and the Ace of Discs. And she talks quite a bit when she talks about the aces about needing them all to be angels and embodying both sexes. So yeah, it's her. I cannot stress enough how beautifully written her book really is. And it is dense and there's a lot to unpack in there. Let's see. Right, so we get the magician holding this Merkaba, okay, or the Metatron's cube in a three-dimensional form. And Marie White refers to it either as a Metatron's cube and sometimes as a phoenix's egg, and then points out that the word cube, right, is Arabic for ka, which means square, and ba, which means house. And then she takes it a step further and relates the syllables ka and ba to their Egyptian translations, which are life, force, and soul. Therefore, the magician is handing you your life and soul. And it's incumbent upon us to understand how to make sense of it and bring it into fruition. Okay? So let's see, what else do we need to look at? Right, should we talk about the abyss? Do we need to answer some questions first? You want a series? Well, I could probably manage that. Yeah, I would definitely look at a course. Wow, there's a lot going on here. A series. Okay. Yeah, I can totally do that because we haven't even really gotten through some of the other things that are influencing that are in yeah. Okay. Do it. Do it. Do it. um wow. Yeah, this is a lot. I know this is a lot to take in, right? It's a lot. It's a lot. Um Nina, sorry for throwing you into that, Nat. No, don't be. It's fine. This is a deck I really love. Hi, Kyle. I didn't see you slip in. Wow, you guys, that's so exciting. Okay, if you decide to do it, you might purchase the Mariel. Yeah, it's a deep deck. It's a deep deck. It is. This is why there's a lot in here. There's a lot in here that has to be really carefully unpacked, and it does blow your mind. It does blow your mind. What I want to do is put together some summary of the stuff that I've talked about in this video, because I made very good notes, and make those available to you as documents so that you can download them later. Probably from Dropbox. And then I also would like to, there's a lot of stuff. There's a whole lot of stuff. But yes, I can totally look at putting it together in the format of a course. So here we go. So why do we need this? I think this is a good question. What do we need this for? And why is it necessary? So I've taken in so much information over the last few days because I also binge watched all of Natalia's shadow work videos from Ouroboros. It was like, woo! Because all kinds of things started to click and drop into place, kind of like a wonderful game of Tetris. But that said, if we contemplate this idea of the abyss, let's just talk about the abyss for a second. So if we talk about the abyss, a lot of us are pretty, it kind of makes us a little terrified, right? And I think it's worthwhile talking about that for a second. Where's my Nietzsche quote here? Right. So Nietzsche said, battle not with monsters. Okay, we're on those of you who are geeking with me, we're on page 8, and it would be the same in the second edition because it doesn't change page numbers till later. Nietzsche said, battle not with monsters, lest ye become a monster. And if you gaze for long into the abyss gazes also into you. I think most of us are here because at some point the abyss has gazed back, right? And we find that the abyss gazes back to us. Yes, the abyss is very tightly linked with Kabbalah. Kabbalah, I'm going to be totally frank and honest. Kabbalah is not something I have studied. I know. Not great. It is not something I've studied. So literally when I say I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants, I really feel like I'm getting downloads here. Jules has actually studied Kabbalah very deeply and has some really good videos educating about Kabbalah. When I go back, I need to remind myself, I will link her videos to that in the box below. If you're very interested in Kabbalah, and I think if we're working with the Mariel, we definitely should be. Her videos are worth watching very much. So in talking about the abyss, we're terrified of that, right? Because once it starts kind of looking back and telling us things about ourselves, and we realize we're not alone anymore in things, it's a little unnerving. It can be a little unnerving. It starts to bring things to the surface. and it's not very comfortable. So let's see. She says here in the book, we're still in the first paragraph under the section Landscapes of the Abyss here. She says the abyss is most simply, but not only introspection, it's looking within yourself. And then she does say at first, that sounds easy to do, but like the abyss, the calm surface is deceptive. And in truth, it is a bottomless pit that contains many demons and monsters. But it also contains your own true will, everything you ever wanted to know, and your salvation. But you must be willing to dive or be foolish enough to stumble. I've been foolish enough to stumble. I've also made conscious decisions to dive. But it's not, you enter into this with reverence and with sincerity and a sincere heart. And I think we then move forward the best way that we know how. Because what else are you going to do? So those of you who have not yet seen Natalia's video on shadow work, I strongly recommend those as well, because I feel like when we're talking about the abyss, we're also talking about the shadow. And as she points out in her videos, that shadow contains within it good as well as bad, difficult as well as not so difficult. I think about how difficult it is for people to take a compliment, and you'll realize you're dealing with a certain amount of shadow or something that's come out of the shadow and is now recognized by the ego, right? What we're hoping to do, I don't want to talk too much about shadow work because, again, I will easily get out of my depth, but she does explain it very beautifully. The more that we take in things that come out of the shadow and become known to us, right? It's one of the ways in which that abyss stares back at us. The more we are in touch, or we begin to get in touch with things like gifts, what are the God-given gifts? And I'm using that term because I believe she writes it in here somewhere. I feel like this is coming from something in the magician part. And I may or may not be able to find it today. But she talks about finding these God-given gifts and bringing them as treasures from the abyss. All right. So as we're working on that, we are essentially hoping to tap into this magician and the magician's power. All right. The magician, she says, is the specter of your full potential, all wise, all knowing, eternal, and you. So if the magician is holding, this integrated form of all of these different things, we hold that as a possibility for ourselves. Okay, we hold this as a true possibility for ourselves. So within this spread, we're going to work with the magician as a significator, with the intention of finding a way to tap into that abyss, pull those gifts out of it, and integrate them into our lives in order to realize full potential. Okay, so that's a lot. That's a lot to take in. All right. So that said, the Tetragrammaton is telling us that the God that we seek is already within us. That was something that came out. That's not in quotes. So I'm thinking that was not. I think that was something that came through. And the Tetragrammaton is finding God within the abyss. Okay. I have some other notes about that. I need to go check. Let's see. Hang on one sec. Yeah, so mystical vision, or the way I'm looking at mystical vision, it's the ability to look deeply within the abyss of your own soul to find the answers that will lead you further along your journey with clarity and purpose. And then Marie White points out in the introduction to her book that, let's see, the fear we often have of the abyss is that even to brush against it, no matter, and this is in quotes, right? This is from Marie White, that even to brush against it, no matter how good our intentions, we will be tainted by it, right? That is the fear that we have. And yet this abyss, as she refers to it, is really where all of our treasures lie and where we may find the greatest clues about how to move forward. Most of us here have had some, like I already said that, blah, blah, blah. Right, having some experience of looking into the abyss and having the sense that it's looking back or even right through us, which is not always a comfortable experience. The abyss contains everything that we are and that we could be, and it contains everything that is. So it's the space in which we find ourselves, and it's the space in which we find the other. So whatever that other is, whether we call it God or the universe, or spirit, the abyss is where we discover that we are not separate from it, that there actually is not an other, that we are the other. The other is us, and they're not at all separate. Okay. Yeah. So when we tap into the abyss and we begin to converse with it, it begins to speak back to us. And it has to use symbolic language because that is really the language of the abyss itself. It is highly symbolic. Okay. Let's see. We also need to be able to bring forth the potential of our soul into a form that's useful for transformation to take place. And it's that transformation that allows what we manifest to be useful to both ourselves and to others as our God-given talent or gift that we have to share with the world. So that's what we're looking at in this spread. Okay. So I'm going to go over this and then I'm going to come back to the chat. Okay. I know this is a lot, guys. You're hanging in there. You're hanging in there. You're good. We're good. So this is how the spread is. So the 1 is up here and the 6 is at the bottom. And the first position here is the potential that we have that can be realized. Okay, so what is it within ourselves that we have yet to realize, and that is asking to be recognized and realized? Okay, oh, I have these notes here somewhere so I can hold this up and not have to read it backwards. Ta-da! Oh, there it is. I haven't even saved it. It still says document 7. Okay, so on here, talent, where the greatest potential can be realized. Okay, so that is position 2. Position 3 is the obstacle faced that prevents the recognition of the God-given gift. So whatever it is that's within us, and it's probably bigger than just the one card. I'm going to say that when we start to see this, whatever that big card is, we're going to find that there is not just a concept or an idea. We're going to find a whole pattern, a whole structure of behaviors and thoughts, ideas, ways of interacting with the world, etc., that comes forward. And that will make a lot more sense when we get back to this tetragrammaton. Okay. Did I do that obstacle? Yes, I did obstacle. And then 4, here we are. 4 is what needs to change or shift in order for that God-given gift to be utilized. Did I say utilized on here? I did. Yes, I did. So what do you need to do and change? And again, it'll take time to know whether you're looking at a pattern or whether you're looking at one thing. And I'm going to suggest that it's most often some kind of a pattern of combined behavior and thinking or beliefs that need to be unpicked and untangled and seen as something that is not us, right? It's something that we have subscribed to, whether we did it consciously or unconsciously, but it's probably not, it's not going to be obvious. It's not going to be as immediate as we would like. So then position 5 would be the next step to take toward the realization of our potential, right? What do I got to do next? This could be a lot simpler, but again, it may also hint at a pattern. So it may show us or tell us, what are the things that we need to contemplate or take into account that need to be looked at. Okay. And then finally, number 6, I always love cards. I love spreads that do this. So this one I feel like was kind of left a little bit open for me, but it also feels like the right one, which is how am I going to know that I'm taking the right steps or going in the right direction? Again, I'm going to say that is going to be not just, let's make believe it says, that your answer is Ace of Wands. It just happened to be the one sitting here. Okay. That is not it. It's not as simple as the Ace of Wands. So it's going to be some kind of a pattern. It's going to be things that we see, right? We're going to want to continue to come back to the card itself to look at the symbolism, to notice how it resonates in the body. How do we feel? How does it go in? All of this kind of stuff in order to unpack it. Yeah. Okay. Then that tells us how we're going to work with this. So we get the main part of the structure here. Okay. Let's say that we do the tetragrammaton in December or January. Okay. Moving forward in order that we can begin to work with that and untangle it, right? If that's our intention, is to have a greater understanding of what is that gift, and then how do I bring it forward and use it in order to, benefit myself, right? We're always filling up that well first in order to then bring that to others, right? Because in my own life, I don't feel, I always need to make sure that, that I'm like that cactus in the spirit speak deck, right? The Hierophant cactus. And I'm always making sure that my own well and my own heart space is filled up. But the minute that that's filled up, you need to share it. It has to be shared. So that becomes the next step on that path. And I think we'll all find ourselves on at various different stages of that path, right? Okay, so how do we discern that path better? I can get rid of this notes because I didn't manage to make any further on there. So we're working here with the tetragrammaton. All right. So those of you that watch my weekly readings, which I did not get done this week, you will know it was too much. I had too much going on. You will know that when we do the first operation before doing a general reading, we're working with these same letters. Okay. They're read from right to left. So we have Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey. And they stand for each of the 4 suits. So we have wands, cups, swords, and discs. Okay. So I wrote it here. Again, this part came through And so I feel like I should have it in quotes because it does feel mine fully. But it says the tetragrammaton is, it's where we put the focus in order to seek guidance from the abyss. And then I put my little nota bene down here. In the tetragrammaton spread, a major. If you get a major that comes up in one of those areas, that becomes the focus of the spread. Okay. So what we're looking at is this overall structure. And then when we go to the tetragrammaton, which is these 4 letters, even if we draw cards, right? Let's make believe. Right, we're going to make believe. I'm going to pull 4 cards out of a deck. Even if they are not, this is where you need the camera to be able to shift. Okay, so let's say we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Perfect. So let's say that our Yod card is the 6 of Wands. Well, that's great, right? That just happened to work out very nicely because the Wands are also represented by Yod. Fine. But let's say in the Hay position, we've got the 8 of Swords. So you're then working with the energy of water or cups, but you've got a Swords card there. Okay. Then we have the Vav, not pile. There's like habit coming out there. We've got the Vav position, and we've got Justice. All right. So this becomes our focus for that reading. And then we have for the Pentacles or the second Hay, we've got the 6 of Swords. Okay. Again, not a Pentacles card, but it's telling us something about these patterns that we're identifying through the tetragrammaton or through the Merkava and how to work with those energies. And I feel like in order to really guide much further with that, I would really have to have spent a lot more time with it. And I think, probably it would be best to do within a course if we were all going to work on it together. But I'd be curious to know. Nina from Shuffle Tarot is blushing. What's going on? So yeah, I'm curious to know, how is this sitting with you guys and what questions do you have? Oh, Tarot of the Spirit. Tarot of the Spirit is that is one of my favorite decks. There's a lot going on in there. Do I have Tarot of the Spirit? Yes, ma'am, I do. Okay, if you're going to ask questions, guys, could you put them in all caps? Because it's hard for me to discern as I'm looking through Let's see. Walk through, please. Oh boy. Let's see. Oh no. Okay, Tracy, you just asked, you're not religious in any way. How do I think you'll work with this deck? That is a good question. I am not at all in any way Christianly religious. And I feel like this really helps when I see your question, see Spirit Tarot, I'll be right with you. I feel like if you approach it from a non-religious position, you will get just as much, if not more, out of it. Because if you're not religious, coming to this information is way more accessible. There's no filter or no interpretation. So it's way, way, way better. Let's see. Sea Spirit, I just saw your comment. Let me go back up. Are we doing a spread? Sea Spirit, are you wanting me to do the spread right now? Or are you asking, are we doing a spread in general? We are doing a spread. This is the Merkava spread. I'm not going to do a spread for us. I kind of did a sampling of like how you might work with the tetragrammaton, on a day-to-day basis. Let's see. But I won't be going through that here. I can do another video on that actually. Let's see. Nina and Nana, how would I define the abyss? Wow, that's such a good question. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. How would I define the abyss? I'm going to send you back further in the video. I covered it at some point. I put it in there. And it was, I would say the abyss could be our shadow. And I would say that the abyss is what we think of as God and what we tend to think of as the other that's outside of ourselves. And my own work with the abyss has been that if I dive into it and look into it, I do find something looking back at me, and it becomes a conversation that I have in everyday life. Something important that came out, it was on my pencil page. This was on a different day. Okay, this is an important thing that came from that session where everything was just kind of vomiting out. So the mundane and the sublime are frequently represented within the same card. So I found that about working, that was maybe not from that, but from working with the Mariel, I have found that to be the case. And they're not separate. That is also what I've really found working with this. I work with this deck every day. We therefore look for the mundane and the sublime within the same card, and we want to take note of both in order to receive guidance in a day-to-day life kind of way. Mystical vision, or the gift of receiving channeled ideas and information, etc., frequently comes about during the most mundane of circumstances. So doing the dishes, sitting in a boring meeting, driving your car, that's often when these things come up. So we want to include the mundane along with the higher, spiritual meanings and purposes. Okay. And I would say we practice in order to get a better idea of what, let's see, everyday lives. I'm not sure how that one fits in. Oh, yes. So we're practicing with this, hopefully, in order to get a better idea of how to take what comes up in a reading, right, with the Mariel, and apply it to our everyday lives so that we can work with greater awareness of ourselves, of the synchronicities that arise in our lives on a day-to-day basis in mundane situations, and so forth. I hope that makes sense. So for example, while I was working with this again this morning before life happened and everything kind of exploded all over the map, I was walking my dog and saw these incredible symbols on the pavement, and it resonated something back to me about what I had been writing and looking at. That's one way, for example, that the abyss stares back. Yeah. Wow, there's so much good chat going on here. So Whale Song had a light bulb moment from Jules. Wow. Yeah. Okay, Nina, thank you. Oh, good. Oh, good. Oh, good. Okay. That's beautiful, Jules. Yeah, the abyss is like a black hole in the cosmos. Yeah. Okay, what letters correspond to which element again, please? And Maya, I promise I will get this up on, in some format where everybody can get it. But so so we're reading it from right to left because it's Hebrew. And the yod is wands or fire. And that's the Y. Okay, the first hey is cups or water. The V or the Vav is swords or air. And then the second hey is discs or earth. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. There's so much beautiful chat going on. I'm going to have to go back and watch it. Um, oh, wow. Leanda, you have been in there for the past 2 years. You will come out with treasures unknowable. I promise. It just, I mean, we have to. Um, yeah, time is almost up. It is 7:54 p.m. And I'm relieved because that means that we can go and watch Ethany. And Ethany is always so much fun. Guys, you all know where to find my channel. Okay. Oh, Jules, I love that you just said that. She just said black hole like in the High Priestess card. Where did it go? It was here a second ago. No, that's the Two of Cups. Where did yeah. Yeah. There's kind of this is how she does that black hole. Yeah, this is a beautiful community. Oh my gosh, I love you people. There's so much cool, awesome things in here. Thank you guys. I'm glad you found this useful. I'm so glad. Yeah, it's such a pleasure. It's such a pleasure. Right. We started and scratched the surface. That's right. There's a lot, right? We're, if our consciousness within that abyss were represented, it would be this teeny tiny little dot. It would be a teeny tiny island, in this massive ocean. There's just so much that we don't know. Yeah. Oh. I love you too, guys. You've been wonderful. I'm so glad you enjoyed this. Yeah. It did go by fast. Oh, yeah. And you know what though? Janet, you would not have to get the Mariel to work like this, actually. She's based it on the Thoth and any Golden Dawn based deck that's a more traditional deck is going to give you the level of depth that you need to work similarly, guys. So if you find that the Mariel is too much, please remember, like all of this is Golden Dawn based information. So you can work like this with any deck. It just happens that I've had these kinds of experiences and downloads that have come as a result of working with this deck. That's the main thing. All right, guys. So much love to you guys. I had so much fun. Yay! Yay! Oh, thank you so much, everybody. Yeah, it's such a pleasure. Such a pleasure. All right, beautiful people. Let's go over and support Ethany. I can't wait to get over there. Yeah, and so much love to you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Okay, bye everyone.